Yes. Yeah. Good evening, all. So, myself, I'm Vijay. Like, I hold 20 plus years of experience in different technologies. So, before I start, can anyone please confirm whether my voice is clear, whether the screen is visible or not? Yes. Fine. Thank you. So, as part of today's demo, I'll be discussing the following things. Why data engineer? Why data engineer, right? Previously, we used to call him as an ETL developer. And what is the role of a data engineer? Role of data engineer, the two Azure data engineer. Difference between this data engineer, data scientist, and data analyst, and Azure data engineering products or services and job market of Azure data engineer. Okay. So before I go with data engineer, in it, just something about the cloud environment, and as compared with on-premises databases, right? If I talk, cloud is majorly utilized for storing, analyzing, and delivering data in various form. It is for storing, analyzing, and delivering data in various form. As compared with on-premises, if compared with on-premises, right? Yes, we need to set up our own hardware infrastructure. We need to set up our own hardware infrastructure. Means if we talk about on-premises, on top of that, OS installation need to be done. Purchasing of database license, installation of database server, right? And designing all database objects. To maintain all this, again, we require separated teams. What teams are required? Like hardware team is required, operating system team is required, networking team is required, security team, database administrators. But here, everything in the cloud premises, everything in the cloud, you need to perform all this. You don't need to maintain all this. No need to maintain any infrastructure. No need of any licenses. Here, everything in the cloud, and here everything in the cloud environment. Here, everything in the cloud environment. So difference between this cloud and this today, everything. So if you just want how many systems you want, what is the configuration you want, everything just you can select it automatically. No need to install all these things. Yes. So data engineer responsible for smooth data flow. So data engineers with the help of cloud services work on the data and make it structured and useful. Data engineers with the help of cloud services, they work on the data, make it structured and useful. Data engineers responsible for smooth data flow from source to destination. And data engineer responsible for preparing the data, and after that cleansing or filtering the data, transforming the data as per that required format, and processing the data. So I was saying, for preparing data, cleansing data, filtering and transforming data, and processing data. If I talk about the difference between this data engineer, data scientist, and data analyst, if I talk about a data scientist, they're mostly used for strategizing for the future. Just observe here, data scientist strategizes for the future. They are going to analyze the data, identify the key patterns, and they are going to recommendations for the future. Recommendations for the future. Generally, data scientists they perform like data analysis, data predictions, data classifications, data clustering. data recommendation. Okay. On the other side, if we talk about the data analyst, summarize the data of the past, summarize the past, analyze the data, summarize the data of the past. They're going to summarize the data of the past and visualizing the data. Yes. Data engineer for transforming and processing the data as per the required format. It's going to bring the data, is going to filter the data, transform the data as per the required format and process it. After that, data scientist is going to perform some analysis on it, or predictions or classifications or recommendations. And data analyst is going to visualize the data, summarize the data, and goes to visualize the data. So data engineer does all the groundwork for data scientist and analyst. Data engineer is going to do all the groundwork for data scientist and analyst. Observe, more than 80% of data analysis work is done by data engineers. So we talk about the data engineering, what it involves. Data engineering involves what are the sources from where I need to bring the data, and what is the format of the data, how to transform and how to process the data. What is the destination of the data I need to write? Yes. And why data engineering is demand today? Why data engineering is demand today, right? Why data engineer? Why Azure data engineer? Why Azure data engineer in demand? To talk about this, why Azure data engineer is in demand today. For example, an organization. An organization, it wants to increase the business revenue. It wants to increase the business revenue by utilizing the customer behavioral data on its website. So first, the organization is using Azure for its operations. So generally, it is going to hire two people. It's going to hire two people: Azure data engineer and a data scientist. What Azure data engineer? Data engineer is going to create a data warehouse. Is going to create a data warehouse for the organization. A data warehouse, what do you mean by data warehouse? Is the storage of structured data, and that too queryable data. We can easily query the data. It contains data from various sources, such as new users logs, clicks, existing customer data. Azure data engineer structures the data, stores it, and monitors into this data warehouse. Secondly, Azure data engineer is constantly going to communicate with the data scientist to understand the data requirement, and also communicate with the business team to know the business requirements of the organization. So he has to keep in mind the business needs while dealing with the data in hand. So without data, you cannot perform anything. Data has got experience using data, perform, what we can perform. Data analysis, predictions, data processing. Okay. And data scientists, later they are going to analyze that whatever the process data of data engineer, and it's going to create some insights. And the business team requires some dashboard tool for visualizing the key insights. It helps to the team to read the data, right? Data insight is the data engineer they constantly process the data, analyze the data, and monitors the data. He creates a data pipelines. He is going to create a data pipeline. The output of one will be the input to the next. Is going to create data pipelines through which the data is integrated with all the crucial stages of the data flow. You also make sure that the pipeline is always efficient and secure, means without any data leaks or without any data exposure. The primary role of Azure data engineer, creating data warehouse, communicating with the data scientist, communicating with the business team so that you will get the idea about the data requirement. Okay. Now, if I talk about one by one role of data engineer, one by one role of this data engineer, check with this. Role of Azure data engineer. First thing, designing entire data flow architecture. Designing the entire data flow architecture, how the data is going, right? How the data is moving. Creating a data warehouse. Creating data warehouse for storage of analytical data. ETL, extract, transform, and load. This is one of the key tasks of data engineers. They need to extract the data. They need to extract the data from multiple resources, transform it into structured and queryable data. Transform it into structured and queryable data, and then load this data into company's storage service for the further business evaluations by the data scientist. So ETL is one of the key tasks of this data engineer. Data monitoring, right? Yes. Means data engineers make sure that the ETL is performed in a proper way and data is available everywhere it is required. Data security. Ensuring data security is also a major responsibility of data engineers. The data needs to be secure at each step of the process. The data need to be secure at each step of the process without any leaks or exposure. Yes. That is one of the other tasks, right? Data security, right? Major responsibility to secure at each step of the process without any data leaks or data exposure. Collaboration and communication, right? They have to constantly communicate with the business team and also with the data scientist and to deliver the data as per their requirement. Analytics. So even the data engineer has to have some kind of analytic skills for performing this kind of analysis. Automation, certain things has to be automated, which requires minimal human intervention such as extraction process. Okay. Designing the entire data flow architecture, creating data warehouse for storing of this analytical data, ETL extract, transform, and load is one of the key tasks. They need to extract data from multiple sources, transform into structured queryable data, load it into this company's storage service. Data security, making at each step of the process, data has to be secured. Collaboration and communication. They need to have certain analytics skills to perform this analysis and automation. They have to automate certain process which require minimal human intervention, such as extraction. Okay, these are the things, right? Role of Azure data engineer. Now I'll be discussing about data engineering products or services. Data engineering products or services. Okay, first one is Azure SQL, right? Azure SQL, it is a cloud RDBMS database performing OLTP, online transactional processing. Secondly, Azure Data Lake. Secondly, Azure Data Lake, the kind of storing data in the form of files. Azure Data Lake is nothing but storing the data in the form of files. Azure Synapse Analytics. For data warehouse operations, for big data operations, for batch processing, for parallel processing, this is preferred, right? And Azure Data Factory. Azure Data Factory, what we say like ADF. Azure Data Factory, ADF. Azure Cosmos DB. Azure Streaming. Azure Data Lake, Azure Synapse Analytics, Azure Data Factory, and here Azure Data Bricks. What is Azure Data Factory? I'll be briefing. And next is Azure Data Bricks. Azure Cosmos DB. Azure Streaming. Azure Key Vault. Just in a single line, I'll define what are this. Azure SQL. It's a cloud RDBMS. Cloud RDBMS database of Microsoft. Azure Data Lake. It's a cloud RDBMS database on Microsoft, right? For storing data in the form of tables. Azure Data Lake. Distributed file system with unlimited data storage. What is that? Distributed file system. with unlimited data storage, with unlimited Azure Synapse Analytics. For data warehouse kind of operations. For big data operations. For big data, for data warehouse operations, for big data operations, for parallel processing. Azure Data Factory. Simply, I can say cloud-based ETL. Cloud ETL or cloud-based ETL. You have seen many database, many ETL tools like Informatica, Talent, all this. The on-premise ETL tools, but cloud-based ETL is what? Cloud-based ETL is what? Azure Data Factory, Azure Data Factory, Azure Data Bricks, Apache Spark, Apache Spark-based data analytics platform. Azure Cosmos DB, I can say in a single way, just like MongoDB. It's a cloud-based NoSQL database. Cloud-based NoSQL database. Azure Streaming. Analyzing, just say analyzing analyzing and processing high volumes. Analyzing and processing high volumes of streaming data. Streaming data means data which keeps on generating, data which keeps on incrementing. Such data we call it as streaming data. Processing high volumes of streaming data from multiple sources, that too simultaneously. Azure Key Vault. Simply, you can select secure key management. For protecting the data. For protecting the data in the cloud. So just I was discussing about these products. Yes, Azure SQL, Azure Data Lake, Azure Synapse, Azure Data Factory, Azure Databricks, Azure Cosmos DB, Azure Streaming, Azure Key Vault. Our major discussion here is going to be, I'll brief you about all these things. Azure Data Engineering. Azure Data Engineering. Okay. Firstly, I'll be discussing about Azure Data Factory. Major discussion are going to be on Azure Data Factory, ADF plus. Azure Databricks, ADB, Azure Databricks, and PySpark. PySpark, Spark with Python. Synapse Analytics. Azure Synapse Analytics. Azure Synapse Analytics. Azure Data Factory, Azure Databricks, PySpark, Azure Synapse Analytics, right? This is the major discussion. Along with this, I'm going to discuss. You will be getting knowledge on Azure SQL. Azure SQL for storing in the form of tables. Azure Data Lake, any file format. Azure Cosmos DB. Azure Streaming. Okay, this is what you'll be getting knowledge on this entire thing. Data Factory, Azure Databricks, PySpark, Azure Synapse Analytics, Azure SQL, Azure Data Lake, Azure Streaming. Also, you'll be getting knowledge on this. Yes. Fine. 1 second. Just show you this course content. Naveen Kumar, I just give introduction to this Azure Fabric. Okay. So here, just to give introduction to this Azure data. So major discussion will be Data Factory, Databricks, PySpark, because as compared to other training site, I'll be discussing PySpark in brief. Yes, just a second. Check with the course content now. Just yes, 1 second. Uh, Yeah, yeah. Yeah, in the tomorrow's class, right, I'll just brief you about this. I'm not entering into the much of the technicals in today's session. Sachin Gupta. 1 second, I'll come back to your queries. First, check with this course content, right? Yes. Azure Data Factory. Azure Data, first overview about all the resources. Azure Data Factory UI portal, pipelines, activities, linker service, data sets, triggers, data flows, integration runtimes, pipelines, creating pipelines, organizing pipelines, debugging pipelines, publishing pipelines, linker service, creating linker service for SQL database, for data lake and data sets, What is a data set? Creating data set for all different types of files like Avro file, PNG, CSV, Excel, JSON, ORC, Parquet, XML, right? Activities, different types, wait activity, copy data activity. See, if we see working with different files, CSV, TSV, Parquet, Avro, ORC, lookup activity, stored procedure, get metadata, delete, execute, iteration like filter activity for each if condition until triggers, schedule based trigger, doubling window trigger, storage event trigger, integration runtimes, different types of integration runtimes, right? Yeah, I'll come back to your doubts. Yes, 1 second. Source control, CRM templates, manage private endpoints, monitoring ADF jobs, data flows, mapping data flow debug, filter transformation, aggregate transformation, join transformation, conditional split, derived column transformation, exist transformation, union, lookup, sort, group by, pivot, unpivot, flatten, parsify, okay. Validate schema drift, removing duplicate rows, slowly changing dimensions, say CD type 1, type 2, different exercises, around 50 exercises I'll be discussing in brief. And coming to this Azure Databricks, before going with this Databricks, the prerequisites like Hadoop, Big Data Hadoop, Spark, Cloud Computing, Azure, and this Databricks, creating a Databricks workspace, Databricks service using this Azure CLI, Databricks service using Azure Resource Manager, adding users and groups up to the users, creating cluster from the user interface, creating and configuring clusters, displaying clusters, starting a cluster, terminating a cluster, deleting a cluster logs, types of cluster, all-purpose cluster, job cluster, Databricks pools with pools without pools, auto scaling, Databricks runtime versions, multi-user clusters, Databricks utilities, data utility, credential, file system, job, library, notebook, Databricks integration with Azure SQL database, Azure Synapse, and working with different file formats, CSV, JSON, Parquet, XML, Excel, ORC, Avro, Databricks batch processing, historical data load, incremental data load, aggregations, join operations, Windows, Union, the streaming process of streaming using PYSPARK AB, handling bad records, differences between data lake and delta lake, introduction to delta lake, features of delta lake, handling SCD type 1, type 2, handling data deduplication, workflows, handling jobs, creating, running, and managing Databricks jobs, scheduling Databricks jobs, monitoring this Databricks. And Azure Synapse, you can just check with this. In brief, we'll be discussing about all this. Okay, fine. Coming to this, right? Yes, coming back. So if I talk about this Azure, this job market, right? And this job market of Azure data engineer. We talk according to Microsoft, every year around lakhs of companies are registering themselves on Azure. More than 95% of the Fortune 500 companies are utilizing Azure Cloud. They in turn increasing the number of job opportunities for Azure data engineer constantly. So the major companies like organizations shifting to Azure. Regularly, they are in need of professionals who can work with Azure and handling this huge data. According to the pay scale, data engineer and data scientist, they have got highest average salary. Uh, And according to the survey of global knowledge, the two highest paying jobs, data engineer and data scientist. So yes, data engineers, the jobs are emerging as the top ranking jobs. Yes, companies like Facebook, Intel, Microsoft, Amazon, all this, they are interested in hiring data engineers. That too with a great salary, huge packages. Tech giants including Google, Apple, Cognizant, Walmart, they are offering high paying jobs to data engineers, especially for data engineers. If you've got knowledge on this PySpark, see, initially, if you want to step into the company as a ADF developer, you can go. Previously, you have got lot of jobs, but as of now, along with ADF, you need to have the knowledge about these things, especially this. especially these two, Azure Databricks and PySpark. So if you want a huge package, bigger packages, right? The main thing, okay, ADF you can step into the company, but if you want a bigger packages, salary packages, this Azure Databricks and PySpark in brief, if you have got knowledge on this, okay, you can command or you can demand for this salary. So that too, you need to provide your technical skills, right? Yes, you showcase your technical skills. So the offerings from my side, you'll be getting each and every session video, class, soft copy of this class notes, soft copy of class notes, assignments and tasks to work, assignments or tasks to work, okay. And the WhatsApp group for technical discussion where you can have direct interaction with me, WhatsApp group. And apart from that WhatsApp group, interview questions and resumes. And all these are hands-on. You can do along with me parallelly. The pipeline creations, notebooks, right? We're creating notebooks. Interactive sessions. Okay, fine. So yes, any queries you got, you can check with your queries, right? But if you have got knowledge on this Azure Databricks, the calls are more. You can check it. Azure Databricks and PySpark. If you have got the knowledge, the calls are much. Azure Data Factory, you can step it, right? Azure Data Factory, zero coding is involved without any writing any code. Zero coding. Yes. So if you got any queries, anything, immediately you can unmute and you can ask through voice. Everyone will be kept in unmuted status at any point during the
Hello.
session. You can ask your queries, right? Yes.
Hello.
Yeah. 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 Go ahead. Some
Yes, sir,
query.
can you hear me?
Yeah, Naveen Kumar. Go ahead.
Yeah. So just have one question. So like I'm seeing sometimes for the data scientist also they're asking Databricks and SpiceBar. What is
Yes.
that significance of these two
Yes.
tools?
Yes. 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 So a typical data scientist as of now is depending on data engineer. So a typical data scientist is currently is depending on data engineer. But in the future, you need to have the knowledge about this because data engineering involves data management, data processing, data storage, everything from where you need to bring the data, you need to transform, process everything. A typical data scientist has the knowledge. But as of now, data engineer is doing that for him. So later, after all the data is going to pull the data from different sources, bringing it to one place. And later with some business logic, is going to transform, process it. After the processed results, the data scientist is going to perform some kind of analysis, predictions, all these things. But all this, a typical data scientist has to have the knowledge on this. As of now, data
Yeah.
engineer is taking the help of data engineer, right? So data engineer, the main thing is the main tool that we use is PySpark. Very high speed processing. Today, if you see, every application is generating huge data, not in GBs or TBs, beyond that, like petabytes of data. We talk any application, if we talk about Google, we talk about Instagram or YouTube, bank applications, telecom applications, everywhere we see like huge data is getting generated for that storing and processing that huge data, especially for processing that huge data. This PySpark kind of technologies are very much preferred. At a very high rate of speed, it is going to process the data.
Okay.
And
Okay.
that's why that too, not like overview, I'll be discussing in brief about this PySpark and that too in Azure, it is for that a cluster is required that is provided by Databricks.
Okay. So you're saying like in future these roles may overlap and data scientists may also need to have like idea of these Databricks and PySpark.
If we just go to a data science course, right, at the last 10 days, 1 week, 10 days, right, they'll give knowledge on these technologies,
Mhm.
data engineering technologies.
Okay.
Means just like overview they provide, not in brief in depth. But a typical data scientist need to have this knowledge. Means he should not depend on the data engineer for pulling the data from different sources and next after that transforming it, doing some kind of pre-processing and making it structured and querying and processing it. And finally, if you brought the data to a particular shape and if you got the process results, data analyst is going to visualize it. Data scientist is going to recommend based on this data process results is going to recommend for the future recommendations he can do. He can perform data analysis, he can perform decision supporting systems, he can perform, and he can classify the data, okay, this into this, right? And in this way all he can perform from the process results.
Okay. Okay.
So
I have
data engineer is one of the demanding tool today. You can check with the salary package also, bigger salary packages, right? Especially for this. Yeah, some query was asked.
yeah, I was like I currently have this Azure account. In the past I created one Azure account.
Mm.
So but now for these sessions, right, I'm trying to create a new account for like a free trial account. But I have issue in creating the trial account again. So because I think they're like tracking somehow, Microsoft is
So,
tracking. So
so
how
one
can I
second, one
practice?
second, one second. So here, you have already created one Azure account. See, generally, Azure services, uh, some services are lifetime free, some services are free for 1 year, some services are free for 1 month.
Okay.
See, most of this Azure data engineer is a high-end services, right? They are given for only 1 month.
Okay.
Most of the other things they are used for 1 year and they are free for lifetime. But Azure data engineering kind of things, right? Mostly they are for 1 month. And the two for 1 month, it is going to add nearly out around 16,000 rupees credits are going to be added to your account. If you want any service, right, a paid service, you can make use of that credits that got added to you when you take a free account. But already you said you created a free account. So again, one more free account if you want to get, you need to go with a different mobile number,
Okay.
different card, and different email ID. You need to go with the three things differently. Different email ID which you have provided previously, don't provide it. Different mobile number what you have provided, don't provide it. And
Okay.
also, it is going to do verification.
Like address.
Address, okay, it's fine. But credit card verification,
Okay.
identity verification through credit card, it will just deduct 2 rupees from your credit card. Again, it is going to refund after your verification is done. Only thing is you go with a different credit card, different mobile
Mobile
number
number.
and email ID. You can get it.
Yeah, I think I was using the same mobile number. Maybe that's why. Okay, sir.
Yes, yes.
Thank you.
Pratik, yes, everybody, everything you will be understanding, right? You can switch to data engineering, everything from the basic ground level, the prerequisites, everything I'm going to cover. Yes, Venkat Sairam, right? Yes, that's what I'm saying as compared with other training sites. And this is PySpark is the main execution weapon here. That's why PySpark is will be dealt in brief, not like the other training sites where it will be given overview about it. But here PySpark is the main going to discuss, right? And the duration of this course, it goes to 2.5 to 3 months, right? Because we have got a lot of things to discuss in brief, in depth. With this around 3 months, I'm saying, means you are going to get a typical 4+ years of experience. How much knowledge is going to gain, that much of knowledge you are going to get it. Okay. So only thing is regularity to the sessions, asking queries and responding in the sessions and other working with the tasks, right? Not a worry about this. You'll be getting a free trial for doing this practice. How to get the free trial and those things after the free trial gets expired, how you can work. And that too, like high-end tools like Databricks, how with a minimal charge, how you can work on these things, everything I'll be briefing you, right? and with many working examples, many lot of exercises as I showed. Yes. Any other query, right? Yes. Is there? Yes, Gautam Reddy, right? So it's a tool. It's not okay, where everything will be dealt on this browser itself, right? Where you will be opening it and you'll be working there itself. And Azure Data Factory, no coding is involved. It's zero coding, everything drag and drop. Total ADF that whatever we discussed, the 35 days, right? 35 to 40 days, the Azure Data Factory. You won't write a single line of code there. Everything drag and drop. And yes,
Hello. May I ask one question?
yes, go ahead.
If there is ADF where we don't require coding, I don't know whether this is senseless question or sensible question. Then why do we need Databricks? Is
See,
there a
Azure,
limitation set to the ADF?
see, customized coding, ADF, you cannot write a coding, but if you want to write your customized code, means you want to write your own code, everything, you will go for Databricks. And that too, there are some kind of things, right? If you want to work with the graphs, if you want to work with streaming kind of things, Databricks will be working better. If you want to work with the graph algorithms, if you want to work with ML algorithms, if you want to work with streaming kind of things, ADB. ADF, it's only for extracting ETL. It is going to perform ETL, right? Extract, transform, and loading. But if you want some high-end data, if you're working with data like streaming data, or if we're working like graph data, we are going to write our customized code for handling those. And that's what I'm saying. Databricks and PySpark will be the main thing here in this course. Means if they want to test you, means based on this packages, right? Based on the they'll be testing you mostly Databricks, PySpark, and I'm saying they need to have the knowledge on ADF also. ADF, if you want to pull the data from different sources, ADF is going to do that. See, first from ADF is going to take the data from different sources. It is going to bring and keep it in the Azure Data Lake. Data Lake is a unlimited data storage. From Data Lake, Databricks is going to take and is going to process the data. The process results again will be stored in Azure SQL, and later from there performing some kind of reporting of these things, right? So a typical data engineer has to have the knowledge on this data factory, Databricks, PySpark. Okay, initially, if you want to step into the company, okay, now you can see you can go with as a ADF developer, as a Databricks developer, PySpark developer, data engineer, right? So, but as of now, Databricks, the calls are more for this Azure Databricks PySpark. So you need to have the knowledge about all these things, Azure Data Engineer. And this ADF developer, Databricks developer is going to communicate with Azure SQL, data lake, data streaming, right? These things. Okay.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
So, are there any prerequisites like Python or SQL for this course, or they'll be covered in this batch?
So SQL is that basic SQL is there, right? So not a worry. And Python basic knowledge, that is also I'll be discussing before I go with the basic Python syntaxes. I'll be discussing before I go with that. Not
Okay, it
all
will
that
be.
advanced, not all the advanced or object, all those not required. Basic
Okay.
Python is enough.
So, basic Python and SQL you will cover. That's what you're saying.
Basic SQL is not creating tables, inserting that basic SQL knowledge. Okay, that I can provide you the knowledge on that. And basic SQL and basic Python. I'll be discussing, I'll provide the syntax, not a problem. Python is just the statements look like normal English statements, so it won't be as complex as other programs. I'll provide that knowledge on that Azure as SQL and this Python basics, right? Okay. Any other queries? You can attend the session tomorrow also, same time at 5 o'clock using the same link. Yes.
So the actual classes will be at same time, 5 p.m. or any time change will be there?
5 o'clock only.
Oh,
Same time, 5 to 6 it will be.
okay. You have any morning session also, or only this evening session, like new batch?
As of now, it's evening only because lastly we had started 2 batches in the morning, but as of now in the evening. But starting again the morning batch this time it will be time taken.
Okay.
Okay, the same time at 5 o'clock you can join, right? More discussion. So tomorrow you can follow the same timing, same link. Okay, to see more discussion on these things, right? Fine. I want during the sessions, I want more interaction from your side, right? Even once we go with the practical part, you'll be doing parallel along with me, and also for each and everything you'll be responding, right? Yes. So fine. So thank you all for your time. Thank you. Meet you tomorrow.